teams have an identity, right? When you look at team, and it's actually fun to see here in our latest season, because last year was the first time where I think you could turn off team names, watch tape, and go, I know these teams, right? Eager has a unique play style compared to Gabe, compared to Noble, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When you see your strong point on Noble, one of your strong points is your aggressive jungler Chapo. You can't give him the bats. I feel like you gotta lean on what your strongest point is, and I would like to see Noble sort of embrace the Chapo a little bit more here.
Noble going ahead and opting for the Terra Sylvanas bans, which sustains the name of the game for Flashpoint, and they are taking that away entirely. And Flashpoint opting immediately for the bots. So
Noble's okay.
No, I don't think Noble has an issue with that. If anything, no. Chapo's probably happier that he doesn't have to worry about potentially picking that.
That's the thing. You know, maybe the Hun Bats was Chapo's choice, but if it wasn't, this is Chapo going, hey, coach, you can't tell me to play it again, right? The Bacchus is going to be taken by Noble this time around. They saw what Shadowq was able to do with it, and they're going to seek to turn that around on their opposition. With our second pick here. All right, so they're just going to say, all right, we see what you guys did. It's our turn now. We'll see if MLC can pilot the Zeus just as well as Incon, if not better.
Trying to turn the tables, Noble, but Flashpoint sticking true to the Medusa pick. That's I like that pick onto Xenotronics.
Love it.
And I'm assuming that's going to be Xenotronics. There is slight potential that Incon could play it in the mid lane.
Sure.
But I don't see that just because ADCs don't tend to fare very well against Zeus, considering that he has AoE damage early on, and he just has so much burst potential. You wouldn't really want that for buff securing.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you see the Bacchus and the Zeus, which I think is pretty standard and classic wombo combo. That's what Noble has found a lot of success with. And you see the Fenrir. I like this already, this draft, immediately, like way more than what we saw last game.
You're allowing Chapo to be aggressive the way he wants to be. Fenrir works very well with Zeus. He's going to be able to feed the player into your ultimate. I love it. I think it's a very good look for Noble already. Banning out some of the more problematic supports here, Khepri and Sobek, they're going to be off the table as well.
A lot of sustaining and peeling supports more so than anything else. Khepri removed, Geb removed. Those are two pretty huge lifesavers, like get out of jail free cards. And without either of those on the table, Flashpoint could struggle a little bit here unless that Kabrakan's opting to go into the support role. But I feel as though it'll be opting for solo. And Athena, that's actually a very strong pick coming out for Flashpoint because it'll be a very strong deterrent in case Fenrir tries to engage on somebody.
Very true. You can disrupt the Brutalize with the Taunt, the Giannis for the mid lane, and Shadowq's Athena is one of the better Athenas, I think, across the league, excuse me. Xing Qian over there in the solo lane for Uzi. We'll see how that one works out. Next to the Bacchus. Last pick coming out here, the Anher. So a little bit of the early mid game coming out from the Fenrir Anher combination over here. Zeus will carry the game into the late. We'll head into the game here. Noble looking to take and even out the score 1-1.
Much more aggression coming out for Noble Esports already. So they're probably going to be looking to play this early game way more aggressively than what they were in that last game, number 1. And then on top of that, though, they do need to be a little bit careful considering that Flashpoint has a ton of global presence and a lot of mobility on their team. Between the Athena and the Giannis ultimate, anybody could be anywhere at any time. And that's always a very scary factor to have to deal with in a game.
Yeah, here it is. What it comes down to here for Noble is punishment, is the fact that Noble get one shot. Chapo goes, he goes for the gank, and if they mess it up, everybody's coming to party from Flashpoint, so get the hell out of there. Noble absolutely need to be precise on their rotations, and when they make a play, it has to be executed perfectly. They can't halfway get there, because that's when they're going to get punished by the global presence.
Early on, we can see Chapo is going to opt to start in that solo lane with Uzi. They should have a little bit of better clear, but most likely just going to see each of these teams opt for their own buffs. I can't really imagine that they'll look for an invade off of this unless we see a mid laner rotation, but it looks like we could potentially see a little bit of a skirmish going on. And Incon securing the buff for them, which is really safe considering Wubbin was trying to invade that by himself.
Yeah, speaking of which, Wubbin has returned, so no more coach substitute, but looks like Wubbin might be short-lived here. First blood going the way of Mirage, 1 minute in. And here is a follow-up. Chapo forced out the beads already. Jumps over the wall, should be good, but Shadowq making the rotation. Finds a couple of hits, shield wall is strong. No follow-up, but one more shot will do it. One more shot will do it. Chapo's gonna walk right into the damage of Mirage. The technical, not double kill, but 2 kills, nice and early, separated by about 15 seconds here, folks. Mirage, well, he's already off to another good start.
And another thing about that is Bots is probably one of those characters you don't want to give a good start to. That's ideally the situation that Chapo would have wanted last game on the Bots, but wasn't able to find. But securing 2 early kills and then getting to invade the buffs for free, that's not a fun situation, especially not for a Fenrir or a Xingtian.
Right, because when you look at a character like Fenrir, he's the one that's built to be easily piloted during the early game, and Hunbats is supposed to be tough. You're not supposed to get to 5 very easily. And once you're able to feed him those kills real quick, he's level 4 already. Once he gets level 5, expect to see Mirage look for the aggressive Hunbats plays, which only really come out when you have this type of lead and you're able to get there like that. So, like you said, kind of a rough spot, but we'll keep an eye on things on the side of Noble, because I mean, the game's, it's 2 minutes in, right? It's certainly not over. And I think that if Noble are going to be successful in either of these games, looking at the drafts alone, this one's going to be the one.
It's rough, but it is manageable. They're just going to have to play a lot safer than what they probably would have wanted to, picking an aggressive draft early on. We saw they tried to make that aggression happen, but it's just such an unfortunate circumstance.
Level 2 Fenrir, level 5 Hunbats. That's our whole analysis segment right there. I mean, that's just what it comes down to, is that, all right, the Fenrir just hit level 3. Level 3 Fenrir, level 5 Hunbats. That's our whole analysis segment right there. That's really what it comes down to, is just the fact that Hunbats is a ult bot that reached level 5 in pre-3 minutes, and Fenrir hasn't done anything. That alone right there is kind of a foreshadowing kind of tale for the guys on Noble. Now that Hunbats is level 5, where does he go?
Flashpoint are probably going to be looking for an early gank into the mid lane, or just look for some gank potential inside the buffs. They just want to fight at this point in time. When you have that much of a level advantage over your opponents, you might as well just group 2-3 people, even 4 possibly. We could see ShadowQ ulting in at any point in time, and just going ahead and securing the enemy's jungle, clear them out, and merely dry them. Like, you make them bleed the entire time and just force them out of any farm.
And that's going to be the goal. You can see already Flashpoint hanging out on the left side of the enemy jungle. Those right side elementals will go the way of Noble, so small victories here, folks. There you go. There you go. You got the last hit. Almost level 5 here for the jungler, and that's really... We're focusing so much on the jungle here because, honestly, the majority of teams kind of fight out of their jungle, but specifically Noble, Chapo is the one that you're looking at in the early to mid game, and then late game, that's when MLC Stealth and Wowie really sort of take over. But this early game is all Chapo's job. This is all his sort of territory. And instead, he's going to walk into, he's going to watch his own jungle being taken away. That's going to keep him at level 4. Whereas the enemy support, level 6, Uzi finds one, grabs with the ultimate. There's the Fear No Evil and the follow-up damage. Uzi has to jump away from the players that he threw into the tower themselves. Noble try to find the counter initiation, but just doesn't work out.
Too much defense coming out on the side of Noble, and Flashpoint are actually just way too far ahead for it to be any point. And you can see ShadowQ just picks up Lubin, and he might be in a little bit of trouble here.
No, ShadowQ's gonna ult away, no problem. The dog still not enough damage out of Fenrir, level 5 here. Finally finds the ultimate. This will be a kill. Finally, Noble looking to get on the board here. Chapo gets his first kill of the game. You know, I say finally, it's only 5 minutes in, Taco. But Flashpoint has been able to make these plays, 3 kills already. Flashpoint has already made their mark on this game.
That's a massive kill for Chapo to pick up as well, because it came onto the solo laner Aquarius, who's far ahead, so that definitely provided him a lot of golden XP that he's lacking. He's still 2 levels behind of Mirage, which is definitely, it's going to hurt. But at the same time, at least it catches him up. It gives him a little bit of breathing space and shows Flashpoint that they need to be potentially more hesitant when invading, because we saw them swing from the left side of the map, clear on over to the right, just taking everything in their path. But they were engaged on by Noble. Noble almost came out pretty evenly there, but just a little bit short. They're too far ahead on Flashpoint at this point in time, but it shows that Noble can they're still in this though.
So we see leads like this, we see large leads, almost larger leads, right? We're looking at 1.5, almost 2,000 gold here. And when it comes down to it, when we look at leads this early in the game, we always say that this is a big one, but it doesn't dictate. This lead for Flashpoint, even though it's smaller than some of the earlier leads we've seen, seems to have more control over the game than others. Why is that the case?
Leads can dictate the pacing of a game, but they don't necessarily determine the results.
The outcome, right.
And it's one of those circumstances where you're well aware of how far behind you are. Chapo is well aware that he's 2 levels underneath that bots and can't really be engaging. But it doesn't look like that's going to deter him in the slightest, and Bot's ultimate actually forced out.
That's going to be a win until Zeno from the left side picks up 1, and his team picks up 2. Woman and Chapo fall down. That was a great play. That was a great play by Chapo. Jumps in, chases the beads, but then the single rotation from Xenotronics, and that, whether that's ShadowQ's call or that's Zeno's rotation on his own, that is the promising look. It's not a hard kill. Medusa shows up and hits 4. That's not a difficult thing to pull off, but the rotation, having the intelligence off of that slight bait, that's the trick there. That's cool.
Map awareness was crucial there. Wowie had probably called that out as a possibility that he was looking to rotate in, but they were too far up the lane already that the damage from the Medusa ult is really all that Xeno needed at this point in time, considering that he's level 10. Chapo was like level 6, 7 at that point in time, and he got bursted immediately. And Wowie trying to contest, you can't contest the Gold Fury, especially since he had to burn his ultimate to secure his own red buff, and that was his steal potential being lost. Once Noble saw that, they recognized it and immediately went for the Gold Fury, and it's all from there.
And this, again, spiraling out of control for Noble. 3,000 gold now. Lead stretching ever so quickly. 3,500. Actually, Aquarius going to be picked up in the spin cycle. There's going to be help out from MLC Stealth. The pancake flip, and he's gone. Number 2 for Noble, taking out the solo laner, although it did take multiple players, but they're able to make that play because they know, unfortunately, that the Gold Fury's down. So there's no punishment that Flashpoint can really make off that. That's actually just net positive for Noble, possibly the first net positive play in this entire game.
Poor Wowie being left all alone on the other side of the map just means that he's going to have 4 Flashpoint members inside of his jungle. You can see Mirage almost chased him into the T2 area. I mean, he wasn't out. He's trying to back at his harpies, and the man can't even get away there. It's just no relaxation.
No, and there shouldn't be. And this is impressive for Flashpoint because this is, like I said, night and day from last week, and it doesn't. I really don't want to hear people say that it's about the competition level, because Noble, although they're not a number 1 team, they're certainly not a number 8 team. And so when you look at Flashpoint come against these guys, for the difference to be this stark, I mean, it's got to be improvement, obviously, but like I said before, the mentality of playing up versus certain opponents versus playing down versus certain opponents, that's starting to seem a little bit real here.
You know, I just realized too.
Shoot.
Incon and Twitch chat, they're going to need a new meme.
Why?
He's had way too great of performances in both these games so far, and I think he's feeling himself a little bit. Maybe they're his field of motivation.
Yeah, no, I mean that's certainly a thing. I mean he might still be the problem just yet. don't back off just yet, Taco.
Just waiting for him to miss the Yanis ult into the unstable vortex, and it feels Batman all over again. Absolutely.
No, on a serious note, it's also good to see Incon, performing at a high level. I think anytime we have the members of our community, because Incon's a loved member of the community, I like to see those players play well. Noble looking to collapse here. They probably should have quicker, but Wowie's going to smoke out Mirage, not find the kill just yet, saved by the ultimate. And here's the rotation out of Stealth. A little bit too slow for Noble. That collapse, I mean, had they collapsed quicker, do you think that Noble would have been engaged on? Is that why they hesitated?
You can see Chapo still wants it, so does MLC Stealth. Xenotronics is in a bit of trouble here, forced to use his ultimate. Well played to Xeno to avoid the Fenrir CC by going ahead and using his ult as well. But at the same time, now that's on cooldown, he can't stay underneath this tower. He will get dove.
Yeah, not with that HP bar whatsoever. He's got 25 HP, so certainly not going to be a look. All right, he's got 321. Thank you very much. But we can see that the Medusa gonna be safe here to go ahead and
Yeah, they
farm
backed
this
off.
lane. Yeah, no, why?
I'm
Serious
just as surprised
question.
as you to see them back off. The only reasoning I can see behind it is concern for Yanis still somehow rotating in over there from the left side and just Flashpoint being able to get over in time. But at the same time, they probably that would have been a safe
Yeah.
engage underneath the tower, but they would have needed to back out immediately. I think they were just concerned about counter collapse.
I think Flashpoint are going to make the play on two women. Burns the meditation, the impale off the mark from Wowie. I think Flashpoint right there have just conditioned Noble into playing super safe. If you can't back at your back Harpies, what can you do in this game? And so the idea of pushing out that tier 1 this early on was a safe play, but Noble have just every single move they've made in both of these games, they've had one net positive play. Maybe two. I think there was the play around the Zeus or in game number 1 might have been net positive, but this is what the majority of these plays look like. Just too many Flashpoint jerseys surrounding 1 or 2 players from Noble. Again, rotation out of Xenotronics proves fruitful. There's the kill for the Hunter. Still continuing on throughout the Zeus ultimate and the Fire Giant raining down. Flashpoint actually in a bad spot right now, but not bad enough. Woman taking damage from the Fire Giant, stuck there on the slow. And wow, he's gonna turn things around. Incon causing problems now. 7-2. Number 7 being put on the board by the mid lane Incontinentia. 1, 0, and 4.
You heard me talking about how he was gonna miss it. And he had to land it. I'm happy. So that's exactly what I wanted to see coming out of Incon on this Yanis. That confidence to go ahead and use his ultimate in that way for securing the kill. That's what you really want to be doing. You want to instill fear in your opponent, not letting them know whether or not they should anticipate this Yanis ult to come swinging or not.
Yeah, and that's, again, this is just a conditioning that Flashpoint have been driving towards Noble. It's just you're not safe. You will never be safe. And you see that direct result of that non-push tier 1 tower very easily could have been pushed, but Noble are used to not being safe here. Initiation in from Woman. Gold Fury still not leashed just yet. Finally let go. Chapo gets the kill. Noble looking to turn things around. Chapo still healthy. Not so much for Incon. Stealth gets the kill on this mid laner. Now following suit. Shadow Q very low alongside Mirage. Down goes one. Down goes the other. Noble get the near team wipe. The only one alive is Aquarius. He's farming the left side wave. And the Gold Fury targeted by Noble. Aquarius backs. That is a free objective. Well done by Noble. That'll bring him back in the game.
That gold lead is going to be diminished, if not completely gone by the time this Gold Fury is up. And right away you can see there's still a small lead in the hands of Flashpoint, but at the same time, that experience swing, crucial for Noble coming back into this game. Now they had the possibility to keep on fighting in these jungle areas, and MLC Stealth really shined in that moment. He dropped the Zeus ultimate in the perfect area to get as many people as possible in it, and you could just see Flashpoint falling way to it. And again, here we see the combo coming through. MLC's got those stacks onto Aquarius, but not enough to finish him off just yet. It still hurts.
Yeah, that time Incon saves the day with the defensive ultimate, save his solo laner. Classic setup right there, though. Uzi protecting his jungler's speed buff. Throws the ult down. Chapo sees it, says, hey, thanks, Uzi. By the way, Stealth, you want some dinner? Tosses the Aquarius right in the whirlpool, right into the thunderstorm. Not enough to kill, but still, Noble definitely back into this one. 2,000 gold, we were talking before. 2,000 gold in 3 minutes. We're like, ooh, this one, I don't know how to feel about this one, Taco. 2,000 gold in 15 minutes? This is, Noble, who cares?
It's annoying, but you can deal with it. It's not as big of a deal as it is early on.
You're not tied. You got to be a little cautious. But the game, it's certainly not as dire of a situation as earlier on when you're just like, well, my jungler is down 18 levels, right? Now, it's 12 and 12. You mentioned the experience was the biggest point about that exchange. Absolutely. The Fenrir catches up. The mid lane catches up. Everybody but the support basically catches up. Uzi actually catches a lead, and that's going to be where you're going to see Noble really lean on is this Xing Chen. Uzi needs to really step up and make some more plays if Noble want to turn this into a win.
The only characters who are a little bit behind is Wowie on the on-her, but that's just because Xeno's had phenomenal rotations so far in this game that have really helped him snowball slightly ahead of the on-her. But at the same time, if I'm going to see a 2-level difference coming out of characters, I would want to see it on Bacchus because he's naturally tanky anyway because of his Intoxicate passive and the way that he's able to just go ahead, keep drinking, develop the tankiness that can compensate for his lack of levels. So he's still going to be very useful in these team fight scenarios and setting up with the Zeus ultimate, and his ultimate is going to do just as much damage as you'd want it to get, you know, enough for the Fenrir for locking down on a character and getting the real burst factor going.
Itemization choice coming out from Chapo that I want to touch on. Hydra's Lament has become the absolute go-to since about Season 3. It was changed, and you buy boots, you buy Hydras, and that's how you build a jungler, period, end of story, see you later. It's only 10% CDR versus the 20 CDR of Jotun's Wrath, right? There's penetration on Jotun's as well, but the follow-up damage from the basic from Hydras has proved way too strong on some certain characters, Fenrir even included. Why do we see Chapo divert and go back to the old school build of the Jotuns here?
Jotuns is typically preferred by a lot of players on the Fenrir in particular because Hydra's, the big thing about it is that passive where you get the auto attack after an ability. Jotuns doesn't really provide that same instance, and so a lot of players would just prefer having the 20% CDR in comparison to not having a guaranteed auto attack off of Fenrir's kit. Although a lot of times it is pretty safe to guarantee yourself the auto attack, depending on how you're playing it though. If you're not looking to get your rune stack jump stun every single time, then sure, don't really opt for it. Jotuns is fine. Incon having to burn out his ultimate, looked like they wanted to go onto Wubbin there, but just weren't able to find the space.
Yeah, it was the angle of the ultimate, right? They tried to cut him off going to the right side, and Wubbin said, I'll just go left. All right, no problem. And so, not really too big of a deal there. Shadow Q gets the bees onto Wowie. That winds up being a big play, actually. Got to keep an eye on that on her. He does have, of course, the ultimate for CC immunity, but those plays, I mean, that's going to be a larger one. 2 jumps following up. Deli flop into the stun. Chapo just holding the target. Shadow Q, however, is tanky. Wowie shows up from the left side. Here comes the ultimate out of the honor. Perfectly timed, offensive and defensive at the same time. Xenotronic picks up the kill on the Chapo. It's a 2-for-1 right now. Make that a 4-for-1 double kill coming out from the mid lane. MLC Stealth. Fantastic play, and one more time. Well, they were going to see Aquarius and Incon left on the board. It's a 3-for-1, excuse me, but the damage has been done. Whether it's 4 or 3, the tier 1 tower goes down.
The patience by MLC Stealth in that engagement, perfect. He waited out Xenotronic's Ace because he knew that Mirage was dead. Regardless, he could have popped his detonate, secured the kill onto Mirage, and maybe killed Xeno afterwards, but he said, no, we're gonna pick up the kill onto you now. Aquarius answering back though, picking up Wowie, which is really strong considering that it's buying so much time for Flashpoint to try and get back into this.
Shadow Q comes along for the ride with the ultimate. That'll claim the kill. Wowie, like you said. And they're Noble. They make a good play. They make a really big play to basically tie the game. They tie the kills, certainly 9-9. They bring the lead essentially, actually exactly tied, but that turnaround kill coming out from FP winds up putting 1,000 gold in their coffers. Gold Fury started up by the blue squad. You're going to see the teleport come out from the entire team here. The Aquarius shows up, but the leash, as Uzi walks into the wrong neighborhood, there's every ult in the game. Okay, just 2. But Aquarius, Incon, and Xeno still have their ults, but the Fear No Evil comes drop down, they body block, and Uzi just gets...
It feels like every ultimate in the game when you die like that.
I just heard so much noise. He just falls over. He's a tanky Xing Chen, right? Building into his 4th item. Here comes the engage. Over the wall comes Chapo. Finds the stun onto Wubbin. Very low is Chapo. He's got to run to the backside. Wubbin now looking to help out. Finds a trip stun. Good play. The ultimate out of Zeus. More defensive than offensive. And Wubbin just caught out. Down for the count. Great play by Aquarius.
Kraken walls are a thing of fear.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into those narrow jungle corridors as a Bacchus, he's already expended his jump, and
Under the
MLC
tower!
Stealth is not having a good day right there.
Chapo tries to help out, jumping over the wall, does not have the stun available, so the mid laner falls down to the wayside regardless. Shadow Q gonna back, taking a look. He does have the ultimate, not quite yet available, so he won't be able to ult back into this one, but Flashpoint don't need the support to take out the tier 1. Tier 2 might be a different story, and there's the Shadow Q ult coming up right about now. Planned that perfectly. Chapo
They've
just
got this.
farming in the jungle. There's nothing Noble can do here.
He can't heal in time to try and help his team contest, and even
Yeah.
if he did, there's just too much grouping on the side of Flashpoint. With 5 people there, you don't want to try and fight as 3, especially since Chapo has been that initiating factor for Noble, because he's the one that's really trying to get in there, get his ultimate off, either pop somebody's beads or Aegis, and then bring them to MLC Stealth. That's his job, is bring them to MLC Stealth, let them die in that thunderstorm. But as soon as one of them falls, it becomes really difficult for Noble to steal, maintain enough peel for their carries while having engaging factor as well.
I mean, this is the composition that got Obey to the finals at Worlds. In game number 5 versus Eager, they go ahead and they pick up the Zeus and the Fenrir combo. This is one of the tried and true compositions for Obey specifically, and you see Noble trying it out. And the biggest difference that I noticed between watching Pretty Prime and Twig, Pretty Prime and his jungler execute versus MLC and Chapo execute, is the fact that there's just less aggression coming out from Noble. From minute 1, you go for the jump stun, you go for the brutalized kills with a couple little basic detonate plays, and then when everybody hits 5, on cooldown, you look for that grab into the thunderstorm. Noble have been waiting for the game to come to them, which is what you want to do playing the Hun Bats, not playing the Fenrir. And I think that play style is really hurting Noble here.
Still a little bit too much hesitation coming out for Noble, and for Flashpoint to respond in the way that they did there, after losing such a massive fight and having that huge swing go in favor of Noble, they responded and bounced back from it almost immediately.
Yeah.
And now they're just sieging up everything they want to on the map. I wouldn't be surprised to see them start doing the Fire Giant dance.
And here's actually, I asked it sort of haphazardly earlier on in the game. I didn't really know I didn't really know what I was going for, to be honest with you. But here, we're seeing the leads that Flashpoint have amassed here. This is only 6,000 gold, but it feels like 10 plus. Earlier, what I was talking about was there was only a 3,000 gold lead at the time, but it felt so much larger. Why do Flashpoint's leads seem to give them more power than other leads across the league? Why does this 6,000 gold lead feel so heavy?
The neighborhood of 1 to 3K gold leads are leads that aren't necessarily devastating.
Right, you can find
depending
it,
on what point in the game they're coming at. If it's coming prior to 7 minutes, okay, this is bad. If it's coming 7 to 13 minutes, you're just like, all right, well, this kind of sucks, but we're gonna be all right. When it's coming to a 5K plus gold lead at this stage in the game, 24-minute mark, it's devastating because of the fact that Flashpoint are getting really close to finishing off their 5th items.
Right.
A lot of them already have a 5th item like underway. And Noble, on the other hand, are only at 4, so when you start to fall like a full item behind a character, and then the experience on top of that, it makes a difference. And you can see Wubbin's feeling the damage from it right now.
I mean, Wubbin walked into that was just way too aggressive coming out of Wubbin. Did not have the team with him. Here comes the counter help from Chapo, forced into the Sanctuary, trying to find the jungler, but Mirage able to walk away, and Zeno finds the last hit. Uzi now protecting his jungler, left by himself. Big damage! And Zeno's gonna clean that one up as well. There comes the lightning storm from MLC Stealth. 2 players already down for the money. And right now, Noble trying to fight against Flashpoint. Xenotronics having a hell of a game here. Gonna follow up onto the help from the mid laner. MLC Stealth able to take out Aquarius, but there's the kill. Incon takes out Wowie. Big damage from Xenotronics during that team fight, Taco. Really opening the door for Noble and getting out opening the door for Flashpoint. Slamming the door in Noble's face, and then taking out the Portal Demon one more time. 25 minutes on the clock here, folks. 10 to 15. Flashpoint with the stronger lead right now, 62,000 to 54K. We'll take a brief pause as the players have to situate themselves, but Flashpoint, much different story from last week, looking really strong. What's the biggest difference that you're seeing here now versus last time we saw Flashpoint?
Flashpoint are working as a unit this time around. You can see not many players are getting picked off individually. Incon was one who was primarily getting targeted out because we just saw him in a lot of bad places at a lot of the wrong times, and now he's completely revamped himself, and he's working a lot more alongside of his jungler, which is playing off much better for them in the long run. And we could even tell at that last engagement on the Fire Giant area where we saw MLC almost came through as a saving grace for Noble in that fight. He had an excellent lightning storm that just dropped down on top of everybody. But even with Flashpoint dispersing, it didn't really make much of a difference because Aquarius came through and he showed up, he dropped the ultimate, he traps MLC. And so when you combine Incon and Mirage just having significantly better synergy together, and then Aquarius, I think, is picking up a lot of slack as well. Before, he wasn't really the reason why Flashpoint were losing, but at the same time, solo laners are those characters. There's somebody who can have an impact.
Right.
And he wasn't the reason why they were losing every single game, but at the same time, he could have stepped it up, and that's what he's really been displaying here, is that he's finally stepping it up, and that's huge.
He's the true rookie on the team, right? We mentioned that Incon and ShadowQ are as veteran as it comes, right? Xenotronics is a little step behind that. Xeno's been playing for a long time and has been known. He's going to get into some trouble here, but has help from the support. But here comes the jungle, and Xeno gets taken out. Uzi on the assist from Chapo. ShadowQ taunts out to interrupt the Brutalize, and here in the mid lane, Aquarius doing the damage that we were talking about. Chapo over this side, finding help, and that's gonna go right into the damage of the Hunter, the mid lane, but it's still not enough. Chapo following up, gets controlled by MLC Stealth, and he has to be pushed out of the team fight. Again, Aquarius drops it. That is depressing. MLC Stealth picks up ShadowQ there. You get the perfect initiation to the Fenrir. You jump, you get the stun, you find the ultimate, you hold him in place, on her wails. Zeus wails, and the guy walks away. What do you do when your burst damage doesn't work?
At the same time, that still went heavily in Noble's favor because Flashpoint tried to respond there and save him, and ShadowQ actually ended up dying because of it. Because Aquarius actually ended up, unfortunately, locking his teammate out of returning safely to the tower. It did save his side. It saved himself, and it saved the people next to him. But ShadowQ's on the wrong side of the wall there, and that was the side of the wall that he did not want to be on.
Sometimes your support has to sacrifice himself. Is that a good play by ShadowQ, or just not strong, not where he needs to be?
Overall, just poor engagement by Flashpoint in general. I wouldn't pin that onto ShadowQ. He was making the right play there, trying to save his teammate and provide peel as Athena. But at the same time, it's an engagement that Flashpoint should have never been in. Xeno should have never been picked off by Uzi and Chapo in the solo lane side of the map. And then because of that, Aquarius was starting to make the rotation over, so he gets caught out of place. And, you know, it's kind of just like, it's like dominoes. All the pieces just start happening at once, and there's not much you can do about it, but just try to get out of it.
Aquarius having a tremendous game outside of that situation there. Although, like you said, he was responding to his teammate. He's a true rookie. Incon and ShadowQ, veterans, like I said. Xenotronic, he's been playing for a while, but professionally not as long as the other guys. Raj, this is his second season. Aquarius, this is his real rookie performance. So the fact that he had little to no impact earlier on in the season, that's, you know, he's brand new. Now he's got to step it up, and that's what we're seeing. Chapo trying to do the same, not going to be successful there. Forced into his Aegis. We're going to see both relics down for him. There's an ultimate out of Zeus and Uzi. And they don't get much off of it. ShadowQ going to fall down, but that's just a support. 4 players still alive on the side of Flashpoint. Noble looking towards the Fire Giant Taco, but I don't know if this is as tasty as they think.
Noble got what they wanted out of that engagement, though, because they burned out Xeno's actives. Chapo is doing what he needs to do by forcing out his beads. The Aegis is still available, which, you know, that's not ideal considering you have a Zeus on your team, but we've seen MLC's discipline when it comes to playing the Zeus.
That's true.
That man knows his timing when it comes to detonates, and I'm confident that if they get Xeno into kill range, he's going to fall.
Did you say Batman knows his timing when it comes to...
no, that man.
Oh, that man.
No, I'm not. The Batman discussion happened like an hour ago, Tom. We can't bring this up here now.
Batman is aggro's least favorite superhero, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So you can roast him in chat. He is the true forehead of the team anyway, right? Got to put that one out there. We'll restate the game for you folks if you're just joining. Half hour into this, or just shy of it. Bad luck 13 on the scoreboard for Noble here versus Flashpoint's 15. Noble find themselves trailing by about 3,000 gold. It's been back and forth, but Flashpoint has largely driven this truck towards the victory line. Noble need to find a couple of good counter engages. I love this. These are the graphs that I love, Taco. I think this really illustrates the game. Sometimes when they just go up or down, it's all right, good, one team won. But this is a really strong illustration of the game. Flashpoint get off to a strong lead. Noble bites back. Flashpoint beat them up again and continue to find a lead. Noble actually bite back, and that you saw those dips, and that's promising if you're a Noble fan here, because it's very easy to look at this Flashpoint game and say they're just toppling Noble, but being able to fight back from behind for a newer squad like this, ooh, very important.
Playing from behind is probably one of the most difficult things you could possibly try to do, especially in SMITE, because games can run away from you without you even realizing it. And one moment, everything's even, you're chilling, you're having a good time with your friends. The next, it's like 10K and a fire giant, and you're just like, whoa.
Portal Demon gets leashed as he's going to grab one or two players right into the damage of Wowie. Love the trust out of the Hunter player there for Noble. Going to continue the fight. Aquarius on the back line, controlling Wowie so he can't catch up. But here comes the dog into the monkey. He's going to get toasted as the collapse on El Chapo is strong. Chapo does not have the lead that he thinks he does. He's going to fall down. MLC takes out Aquarius. Shadowkey responds at literally the last second possible. He winds up escaping for the moment. But it's just 3 players alive for Flashpoint. Noble going to start the Portal Demon and likely take it.
2-for-1 engagement is certainly favoring Noble here.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to be able to pick up this Portal Demon, which is also awesome, considering that means that Chapel will be able to run right through that as soon as he spawns, in case they're still looking to flirt around with the idea of picking up that Fire Giant. But it really looks like Noble is starting to get the better end of these team fights, which is surprising, because we were saying that about Flashpoint at the start, but now it seems as though Flashpoint's composition is just starting to fall way to the heavy, seedy, like there's so much cooldown on the side of Noble between the Xingtian ultimate and the Fenrir ultimate. There's constant beads being burned, and it becomes really difficult to manage that, and that's exactly what Flashpoint's falling victim to right now. This
was the impact that I wanted to see Uzi make. Repeatedly looking for those ultimates, finding it, and then Wowie, just 100% trust, knowing where Uzi's going to toss out those players, just drops down the ultimate right into them. That's really what you're looking for here at a Noble is Uzi. I asked him to step it up earlier, and he did it. I mean, that's what you want. If you're playing coach on the sidelines and you want to yell something to the team, you're going to yell Uzi, pick it up, and that's what he does. And that's why we see Noble in this position. Frenzy popped mid-game by Noble, really looking for this turnaround, but the Fear No Evil is gigantic. Aquarius is able to take off Wowie off of the ultimate from the jungler. There comes the turnaround out of MLC Stealth. Is it enough damage? Chapo says yes. The detonate already came out, so now it's up to the rest of the squad. Noble have chased away Flashpoint for the moment. They pick up 1 player in Xenotronics, but they lose their Hunter as well. It's a 4-on-4 scenario. Fire Giant no longer on the minds of Noble. They're going to head across the way and look towards a different objective.
That was complete and utter chaos, but it was absolutely amazing. You had Fire Giant just swinging down onto Noble the entire time. They're fighting into this bot's ultimate. You've got Flashpoint trapped inside this thunderstorm, not sure whether they should engage onto the bot's ultimate or not. And that's just when Calamity just comes all together, and it's so nice to see those kind of things. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it was just a pure
brawl.
The word cacophony, just so many things happening at the same time. Nobody's really, it just out of control. And that Flashpoint play probably should have been larger, but you have to really take into account the chaotic situation. Mirage gets everybody with the Fear No Evil, and that's probably a team wipe if so many things aren't happening, because I mean, you gotta give it up to these players. They're focusing on the 27,000 things at the ground level, right? Here, we get we get the beautiful marching band view. We can see from the top and see every mistake that everybody's making. But when you're in the scrum right there, I mean, all you want to do is get out of Zeus ult. That's all you want to do, right? It doesn't even come to mind. Zeus is actually controlled by the Fear No Evil. If we take him out and follow suit, there's no detonate to take us down. Yada, 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 yada. That's a Flashpoint beautiful setup. But because of all of the nonsense that's happening, they can't really commit because they don't have the vision. I love how Noble played that in their favor. Winds up just being a 1-for-1. The pick of the Gold Fury, and it's a dead tie game.
At this point in time, it really just comes down to who gets the better team fight, because respawn timers are going to be kicked up pretty heavily here. And so whoever wins the next fight on this Fire Giant, should there be another massive team fight like that, all that one side needs is really 3 picks at this point in time.
This is what I call a 2-team fight game. The team that wins this next fight gets Fire Giant and clears the board of any objectives. And then the next team fight, the defender pops Frenzy, and if they kill the enemy, then the game continues. And if they don't, the game's over. Whoever wins the next 2 team fights in succession takes the game. And right now, like I said, it's a tie game completely. The Frenzy coming out, you see one on Uzi, one on ShadowQ. Both of those are going to be popped in tandem. Whoever engages pops theirs first, and then Noble waits for or the defender waits for a moment, and then pops theirs in response. So you're going to see both of those rituals come out at the last moment, and really just whoever fights better at that point.
You can check out those Hunter builds as well, which are very interesting. Wowie opted for the pen route. He wants to just chunk away at you, but then you've got Xeno over here on the other side with the crit. And I find it interesting that he's opting for crit into a team with 3 fairly tanky characters. And I think that might be giving Noble a slight edge in these team fights, because Wowie will probably be hitting a little bit harder onto the 2 tanky characters that Flashpoint has. And if Aquarius or ShadowQ fall at this point in time, it's going to be really difficult for Flashpoint to try and engage or make any sort of defense happen.
Even with the Chinsai? Because you see the Chinsai, both of our hunters here, Xenotronics, he's definitely going to work those towards the tanky characters, no?
Even with the Chinsais, it's just not going to be as much damage. And Chapo, you can tell he wants it. Chapo wants
just jumps to the back line. The team is nowhere near him. There's the Frenzy out of Flashpoint. They're looking to fight back. Uzi jumping towards the back line. Zeus Ultimate already chased out. Total win for Flashpoint. 100% win for Flashpoint. There's 2 ultimates available, one of which is ShadowQ's, and the other is Wowie's. That's gotta be the win for Flashpoint, because Noble's ultimates are a little bit more team-oriented. There's the belly flop in from Wubbin, trying to turn things around. Aquarius drops the ground pound, gonna chase ShadowQ and Wowie out of there. Meanwhile, Portal Demon goes down to Flashpoint, just sort of haphazardly to Aquarius's ground pound.
But Aquarius falling as well to the MLC stealth damage on that detonate.
Xeno! He's going to be chased out by the Brutalized, find safety under the tower. ShadowQ going to dash away as well. Noble all down to 25%. Same deal with Flashpoint. Nobody wins! Nobody wins! That is a bad situation for everyone on the map. I guess you look at Noble and say they're the ones that got a kill, as opposed to Flashpoint getting the Portal Demon. But I mean, I think both teams wind up tails.
Flashpoint has the Portal Demon, though, which automatically provides them a larger advantage than what Noble has, because Noble, even if they wanted to look for that Fire Giant, they just can't. It's too much of a risk with that Portal Demon being available. You're
just gonna have Mirage walk behind you and drop an ultimate all of a sudden. That's what happens when you engage with the Fire Giant right here. You see Noble trying to maintain their footing as he just walking around, making sure nobody comes out of that portal. It's his job really to play defense. He's a defenseman right there. When that portal was up, the solo lane, you usually see the solo lane and the support just stand and wait. See if anybody comes through. Don't allow any sneaky nonsense to happen, because that's what happens. All of a sudden, you turn your eyes, you go farm the wave. 4 people walk out the portal, and the Fire Giant's just gone. So Noble definitely want to watch that portal. They do. It goes down. Now, reset. Wubbin starting the Fire Giant with MLC Stealth. Flashpoint understand it.
And again, just gonna fall right back off of it. ShadowQ getting knocked off, taking a little bit more damage than what he anticipated, but the bot's ultimate is perfect.
Control! Wow, he goes down for the count. Here comes Uzi tossing ShadowQ in the way of his teammates. That'll be the turnaround. It's 1 for 1. Stealth on the good side of ShadowQ. Grouping up as 4 is Noble. Kind of spread out is gonna be Flashpoint. Uzi on the right side. Gets poked out by Xenotronics just a little bit. Still willing to fight. Chapo on the backside, ready to come back at a moment's notice, but at the moment just trying to heal up. Noble still have positioning around the Fire Giant, and Flashpoint gonna retreat.
The main reason why we keep seeing so much of stalemating as well is primarily just because the one person that keeps dying on the side of Noble is the Hunter.
Yeah.
If Wowie had been alive the probably the past 2-3 times that these team fights have happened and ultimates have been burned out, I think Noble would commit to that at Fire Giant in a heartbeat.
Chapo chases the beads out of Xenotronics, cuts his brutalized short as soon as the Snake Woman finds herself underneath the tower. So safety for Xeno one more time. Mirage gonna clear out the wave, and Noble have positioning. If Wowie's alive here, the Fire Giant goes down with this much space. Yay or nay?
They have to at this point in time, now that they know for sure that Xeno's beads have been burned out. Chapo's gonna hunt him down.
Oh,
He's had zero fear on this Fenrir with jumping into that backline, 1v the world, and he's certainly going to be looking for the same
Because
thing.
if Chapo dies and gets the kill on a Xeno, that's a win.
That's 100% worth it.
That is a win, 1,000%. The Medusa's going to impact the team fight a lot more than Chapo is at this point in time. Chapo on that Fenrir is just the one, he's the assassin. He's just looking to eliminate one person. Normally it's the mage, but with Incon playing on the Giannis, the Medusa's just going to have too much of an impact.
He's even picked up the Magi's because you can tell all he wants to do is just dive that backline, kill Xeno, and either die for it or get out.
Mirage also has a Magi's Blessing as well. Just keeping up with the Joneses, or is there a lot of damage? I guess he's worried about the constant spins out of Uzi.
He doesn't want to get CC'd out when he's trying to engage in for a... He's had some phenomenal bots ultimates this game.
Yeah, really.
He's been stacking up like 3 to 5 people on Noble every single time. Without that Magi's there, he could potentially just get CC'd or flopped or Fenrir stunned out of it, and then you just feel like a waste because there's definitely burst potential on the side of Noble to go ahead and take him out.
Big belly flop. Here comes Bacchus landing on 2. Xenotronics hits his chased out, and here comes the jungler. Big kill for Chapo. Finds the ultimate onto the Giannis, now forced out into the Aegis. Ultimate out of Incon, just barely off the mark. Mirage trying to give chase, can't find it. But Noble gonna collapse. Chapo's safe, and he's out. The rest of Flashpoint gonna be stunned out by Wubbin. Big play one more time. Incon gets the kill on the Chapo on the right side, who was already out of the team fight. Aquarius brought down to about 10%, give or take, but he'll be safe one more time, and it's a 4-on-4 again.
They're looking for more, though. They want this kill onto Aquarius, and if he falls, that's gotta be
fire.
That's gotta be the Fire Giant initiation. If not a T2 at least on the solo lane side, but it looks like they want this fire, and Wowie gonna get, he's starting it up.
Yeah, this is a dangerous call, admittedly, but I think it's the right call. You can see pretty much everything popped here coming out from Noble. 3 players on the Fire Giant, but full build is the on her, so he's able to take it down, no problem. Chapo, sorry, buddy. You don't get a cool belt. You're gonna have to sit out and watch as everybody has the Fire Giant. 20-19, Noble take the lead here, the theoretical lead. Everything tied up, but that Fire Giant gonna give you a couple of thousand theoretical gold. Where does Noble push up? Is it the left lane because there's 2 towers? Is it the mid because there's nothing at all? Or the right side because it's closer to the Fire Giant?
You want to push up the opposite side of lane that the FG is in, and so they're for sure going to be looking to take out the T1, T2 tower in the dual lane side of the map right now. And Chapo having Fire Giant might not be the worst thing in the world, considering how aggressive he's playing on this Fenrir.
He's gonna lose it anyway.
He'd probably have lost it anyway, so now he can just at least feel a bit relieved knowing that he's not going to be giving up a Fire Giant buff when he goes for his all-in potential.
I do want to highlight, though, the fact that Chapo dying in the engagements is not an issue.
Not
really.
at all.
Like, the 4-6-11 for this Fenrir, he's been a part of 15 out of 20 of the kills here. And keep in mind, he was incredibly shut down earlier on, right? This is a situation where those 6 deaths, all 6 of them have given the team a net positive in whatever team fight he dies in. And so as the gold tier goes down, this is one of those deceptive slash lines that, people are always like, well, look at his KDA. And there's so much more to SMITE than KDA that when you're playing a character like Fenrir or a support in general, a lot of solo laners fall in this category that, yeah, you're 4 and 6, but that doesn't tell the whole story whatsoever.
He knew he'd be the sacrificial lamb, and Chapo's more than happy to oblige and do whatever his team needs to be able to try and find themselves on top. And they're sieging up this left side without any kind of confliction.
Zero.
They just don't want to get involved. It's really difficult for Flashpoint to try and fight at that point in time.
And look at Uzi.
this is
split pushing chip.
that Shing-10 split push. That's something you don't get to see very often.
Oh, Uzi, just making it happen on the right side. Grouping up as 4 in the mid lane is Noble. You were onto something else though. You were going to mention something else.
Well, the way that Flashpoint was stacking up behind, or just in front of the Phoenix, but behind that walling area, it's really smart because a lot of times teams expect somebody to be stacked up there, but you could still potentially get a pick or something that they're not going to be anticipating. And if you catch a team off guard in this kind of scenario, that's really probably the most important part if you're going to be the one engaging.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, Flashpoint are probably going to be looking for the counter engage without a doubt. So having somebody hidden off to the side could be really useful for them.
19 out of 20 times the team's going to know it's coming, but that 1 out of 20 times it wins you the game. I'll see it. Frenzy pop by Flashpoint, looking for the defense play. Wubbin tossed into the wall by way of the Fear No Evil. Here comes the damage of the Chapo on the backside. Switches targets, grabs Shadow Q, but the Zeus ultimate already down. Incon now trying to deal damage himself. Pops a different Frenzy, still going to be utilized by the mid laner. Here comes Chapo, brutalize on Shadow Q one more time. Just too tanky. It's the support. Keep an eye on Mirage. He's flanking on the backside, looking on the right. Noble shifting over to the left side. All 2 Phoenixes still up as the mid lane was taken earlier. Noble shifting to the left lane.
Mirage really wanted to kill Wowie in that engagement. You can see Wowie just run and turn tail immediately, trying to do everything in his power to get out.
Big taunt, he grabs 3, Shadow Q. But there's no damage. There's just no damage. What happened?
You're waiting for it, but then you remember that the Medusa ultimate was already burned.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
That is exactly the word. Because Shadow Q's doing exactly what I did. Guys, I got 3! And then he turns around and just goes, huh? Guys, I got 2! Finally, the damage comes through. Xenotronics answers with the acid spray off of the unstable vortex from the mid lane. Giannis, fantastic play at a Flashpoint, able to combine their abilities. Looking for one more time. Uzi with the ult, throws Shadow Q away from his team. That's the solo lane mentality, trying to play defense for the squad. Wubbin, on the other hand, just gonna get stuck. Jumps over the wall, but Flashpoint. Xenotronics blinks forward. Xenotronics blinks forward.
The flickering ritual, that's coming through clutch right there with the flickering and just teleporting to where Medusas have never been before.
55 seconds, 40 seconds, 55 seconds for Noble. The respawn timers seem like they're telling the story here.
Flashpoint could look for an end here.
This is
dangerous. This is really dangerous.
This is game, Taco. There's only 2 players here to defend. It's an Honor and it's a Fenrir. Halfway down is the Titan already. The ultimate out of Wowie not going to tear Flashpoint. Still not done just yet. Wowie dealing damage, finds a kill. Still, Chapo finds a kill. 10% left of the Titan, but down it goes. Incon picks up Chapo as well. One of the closer games we've seen. 23-20.